Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dishing with Stephanie's Dish podcast. We are here today with Chef Suzanne Vizethann, and Chef Suzanne is, I'm going to start over because I think I pronounced your name funny and then I
No,
was
you
like,
said it
bye.
perfect.
Oh, I did? Okay,
You
good.
did.
All right. Chef Suzanne has wrote a book called Brunch Season, and the subtitle is A Year of Delicious Mornings from the Buttermilk Kitchen. And I love a book that takes like a single subject, but really like elaborates on it because I think when you think of brunch dishes, you have like, the top five in your mind. And
Mhm.
you really have done a comprehensive guide here of how to explore brunch from not just like egg dishes, but all the way through seasonality. So for me, I love books that either give you seasonal guidance because like I'm in summer right now. So how do
Mhm.
I make a brunch for friends and what ingredients do I use? I love the way you organize this book. Is this
Thank
your
you.
first book?
It's our second book. The first book was more of a restaurant focused book, like 100 recipes from the restaurant. So this book is, more of a standalone book. It's definitely recipes that you would find maybe as specials in the restaurant, but more as me as a chef, like my voice as a chef.
So let's talk about that for just a second because I think a friend of mine, Gavin Kaysen from the Twin Cities, he has like a book called At Home that's more of his like personality and style. And then he has the restaurant books, which are highly stylized. Obviously, it's a beautiful restaurant. What, after writing the restaurant book, made you want to kind of bring that home into your point of view?
I think that I love not well, first of all, I love cooking and I love sharing recipes with people. And, like you said, kind of you brought up a really good point that chef recipes and restaurant recipes are just that. They're restaurant recipes, and they're sometimes really difficult to pare down to something small and make them accessible in the home kitchen. And so, while we attempted to do that in the first book, I think that this was more of an opportunity to say, okay, hey, this is something that I might cook at home, or, this is something that I like to cook in the summer or in the fall, and kind of really bringing that, like you in my home with me. So,
Can you tell me
um,
a little bit more about your restaurant?
sure. Yeah. So we actually have two. The original restaurant's in Atlanta, Georgia. It's been open almost 13 years, brunch focused restaurant, open in the morning, breakfast and lunch primarily. And then I actually just opened a restaurant up in Maine. I live here full time, up on the mid coast in a town called Camden. And we took over an 81-year-old diner and opened another buttermilk kitchen here. And that one's called Buttermilk Kitchen at Mariners to honor the old name. So yeah, same style, still a brunch driven restaurant, but a little bit more of a coastal flair since we are right on the water. And
Did you
serving
have
up
a did
classes.
you have a move that precipitated opening in another location? Because I'm fascinated by how people can run restaurants, A1, and then two, like in two different states. I just don't even
It's
know how you guys
challenging.
do
I'm
it.
not gonna lie to you. It is hard. But I'm very, blessed that I have great people working for me. And I think that because I waited so long to open the second one, I was able to really establish a great team under me that can handle a lot of the heavy lifting when I'm gone. And, I come back, I try to travel back like 6 to 8 times a year to check on them, but I am primarily in Maine, and this restaurant's very new. So it requires more of my attention and time. But, I really just am a firm believer that if you attract great people and you treat them well and you pay them well, that they'll be very loyal to you. And, obviously everything's not perfect, but you've got to relinquish some of that control and trust other great people around you. So,
It's changed a lot in the restaurant business. You've been at it for a while. Like I just remember the days of like the chef, yeah, chef, and the
yeah,
really aggressive screaming and the you have to be here 22 hours a day in order to be taken seriously. Like that whole
sure.
culture has changed. And I'm wondering, for you, if that feels like a refreshing change because you've been in it a long time.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I started off in fine dining, kind of working late nights, and I always was really fond of breakfast and kind of breakfast service because not only did it allow you to have your nights free, which I always loved. I'm a morning person. I think too, what I learned very quickly is how important work-life balance is. And it is a really tough industry and a tough job. And as you know, the next generation coming up is different. And you talk to them differently and they have different needs and different wants. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that I've learned that you just have to be accepting of those changes and learn something from that new generation.
Yeah, it's a very feeling generation. They're very
Mhm.
oriented towards having feelings, wanting to share those feelings, wanting those feelings to be heard, which is probably not surprising when you look at the rise of social media in the last 15 years, where that's what we do. We share,
Mhm.
overshare, and share again and share some more, and
Yeah.
really feel like, and I'm guilty of it too, like I really feel like everyone needs to know my feelings at all times.
Yeah.
It's very interesting when you put that into a setting of a restaurant,
Mhm.
because a restaurant
Definitely.
is such a living, breathing microcosm of society or whatever is happening at the time.
Yes. And my first kitchen job. I worked silently. I made $7 an hour. You never challenged the chef. You never challenged anyone around you. You kept your head down and just kept going.
Yep.
So it's different for me for sure. But I really embrace this younger generation and their needs and wants because I do think it is important to speak up and you know, value your life and have a balance. So we find that when we're flexible with people, um, that it just creates a much better work environment for
Yeah.
everybody. And it's challenging. I'm not going to say it isn't because it is challenging to be flexible in restaurants, but um, overall, I think that's a reason why we've been so successful is, when we do have the daytime and we just try to treat our people really well.
Yeah. And I
Listen
think
to
it
their
shows.
needs.
When you talk about your book in particular, did you do all the photographs? Because they're stunning.
Oh, I wish. No, I'm not that talented. No, I have a photographer, Kelly Berry, who's we've worked together a very long time, and she shot the book. And then my good friend Tom Driver was the stylist, and
It's
he's
so great.
phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
So
So we had
great.
a great time doing it.
What I want people to know about with this book, because honestly, if you have a person in your life that's into brunching, because there's sort of that brunch crew, this book should be number one on your list. It's brunch season. And not only do I love the way it's organized in the pictures, but you have very approachable recipes. And also, it feels very modern. So, kale and mushroom frittata. Obviously, everybody's got a good cinnamon roll recipe, including you. Pumpkin glazed coffee cake. I have a cookbook that has literally like 10 pumpkin recipes in it because I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Um, Pecan and cranberry chicken salad. I was kind of surprised to find on a brunch menu and I loved it. Also, you've got drinks in here, summer squash omelet, corn pancakes, and the chia pudding that has been more popular in the last couple of years. What
Hmm.
are some of your favorite recipes in here or ones that you just think are not to be missed?
Oh gosh. So in the summer I love the squash blossoms. They're like a pancake battered fried stuffed squash
They're
blossom. That
so
was a
hard.
really fun one. Yeah, and it's I know not everybody knows what a squash blossom is or has worked with one before, but I thought it was just a fun. First of all, they're beautiful. And you can only get them in this, small window, and they're of course, the flowers on the squash. And most people will, stuff them with ricotta or do some sort of like Italian preparation. And I was like, God, it'd be really fun to do some sort of like brunch twist on that. So we had a lot of fun doing that. And that was kind of like one of my ideas that actually worked right away. A lot of times I'll have to edit a dish and do a dish many times over. And that was like the one dish I was like on the first try, I was like, oh, this worked out exactly how I thought it was going to work out. So that was really fun. I'm trying to think. I really like the winter chapter. I love the chicken soup. Especially up here in Maine, we have a lot of cold. days and nights.
Your
Real
topography
cozy.
is very similar to Minnesota, where I'm from.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was a big change moving from Georgia, but I do really love that chapter, just being cozy and there's some chocolate crepes and again like that chicken soup.
A meatloaf slider felt
Meatloaf
like
sliders with
yummy.
persimmon chutney. Um, so again, I'm a lot of the recipes I'm trying to take a familiar dish like a slider, but then teaching you how to work with a persimmon that most people probably haven't really worked with. So again, it's just really about going to your local markets, supporting those farmers, and then finding a way to bring that into your home in an approachable way.
Your cinnamon rolls looked really doable. A lot of times I think when we see cinnamon rolls in books, they look so puffy and like I know that when I make those at home, that's not how they turn out because they don't proof like that. So I felt like yours literally looked like something I could make.
Oh, awesome. Good. Well, you should try to make them for sure. Baking's like, I feel like baking's one of those things that you can actually really follow the recipe. Because in cooking, like even day one culinary school, we're taught recipe is just a guideline. Interpret it the way you're going to interpret it, use your common sense, use it as your baseline, but it's okay to, if something doesn't taste salty enough, add a little more salt or
Yeah.
add this or add that. But with baking, it's very scientific and exact. So I feel like if you're somebody that likes to follow a recipe, baking can be a lot of fun.
Who are some of the people that inspire you or books that you find yourself going back to?
Oh gosh, I love cookbooks, but there's so many choices, but I've always been a really big fan of Donna Hay. I don't know if you know who that
Yes,
is. She's
of
kind of
course
like the
I do.
Martha Stewart of Australia.
Mhm.
And I always just, when I was really young, when I worked for a catering company, my boss had a bunch of her books.
They're so
And
gorgeous.
I would just get lost in them. Yeah, I love just her stylistic approach. I love just I not only do I love like preparing food, I love styling food. I love making a plate look beautiful. So I feel like she does that really well. Um, I love anything Jamie Oliver. I think he has such a
Same.
approachable way to cooking. Um, gosh, I'm like looking over at my cookbooks right now. Um, Thomas Keller books, any of the
Have you
classics.
ever
I
cooked
love.
anything from a Thomas Keller book, though?
Oh, definitely. I have more
Yeah.
like in culinary school when I was like
Yes.
super into it. Um, but yeah, again, I think as I get older, um, the less pretentious my cooking gets and just the more like stripped down and relatable it gets because now it's more just about like, oh, what do I want to cook for at home or on my day off or I work in a very casual restaurant. So I feel like that's kind of what's made us successful is, kind of marketable dishes.
Yeah.
They got to taste good, but like they got to grab the customer's attention as well. So,
Yes. I think too, when you look at cookbooks and how they're packaged, there's the aspirational books or the books you go to for inspiration. And then
mhm.
there's the like, oh, I'm really going to cook out of this one. And
Oh yeah.
right away, yours was in my pile of I'm going to cook.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Coddled eggs and shired eggs and eggs in little ramekins are always like such good brunch dishes when you get them, but then like they're kind of hard to do when you're
Yeah.
making brunch at home. Do you have any like tricks or what makes your coddled egg better than most?
I don't know if it's better than most, but
Sure
I
it
think that
is. Looks amazing.
I think the big thing with a coddled egg is just trying to cook it correctly. Not over like deciding kind of how you like your egg. Do you like it runny or do you like it more set? And then for there, just keeping an eye on it, making sure I like mine a little runny.
Me too.
So, but and then of course, like, I tell chefs this all the time, especially home cooks take a look at your equipment that you're cooking on. It's all dependent upon like how good your oven is and your stovetop and your pan that you're cooking in and the ramekin you're putting the egg in. And then obviously most importantly is the ingredients. Like I love doing the coddled egg with the kale or like fresh spinach. And it's like, go to your market and grab, fresh spinach. Like just grab something beautiful, and that's going to make the dish shine.
One recipe in here that I was really pleased to see, and I felt like I could make it, but it also felt a little bit southern, was the winter greens gumbo with
Yeah.
well filet in there, which of course that's what makes it the gumbo. It looks
Uh-huh.
so homey and so hearty.
It's so good. It's so good. And it's just a different twist on a regular gumbo because it's got a lot of the greens in it. So it just, again, it's like one of those very comforting dishes, but it also feels very healthy at the same time. But yeah, I love that dish. I
Yeah,
really
I'm
do.
gonna for sure make that one. It looked just amazing. When you were working on the book and thinking about what recipes to put in it, was it pretty easy to figure out what you wanted to add, or did you have to cut a lot?
Um, it really depended on the chapter. I think it was a lot of definitely some editing, some trial and error. Some dishes I just knew. I'd had them before, maybe
Yeah,
they'd been on the restaurant menu. And so those were more of the easy ones. But yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of editing and remaking and testing, and a lot of testing goes into the book. So from there, it really just depended on, did I like the way it turned out? Did other people trying it like it? And then, but I really, the easy part about the book was leaning in on the seasons.
yeah,
Like you take your inspiration from the market, what's growing. And it's like, okay, well, what can I do with tomatoes? Or what can
yeah.
I do with this? And then it was like you give yourself a theme of brunch, and that makes it all, I call it creative constraints. And that really helps you kind of narrow down what you're going to do because the sky's the limit. I mean, there's so many dishes out there, right? So,
Yes. Is it hard for you to do a book tour? I mean, running two restaurants, and does having a restaurant kind of, is that the sales mechanism for the book? I would imagine it might be.
yeah, it's, and it kind of, my opinion kind of goes back and forth sometimes with like doing a true book tour because they're great and they're helpful and they're obviously great exposure. But having two restaurants is such an important platform to sell the book because you got to think about it. In the Atlanta restaurant, we see over 2,000 people a week. And then up here in Maine, obviously much smaller town, but we're in such a high tourist area.
Mhm.
So our population triples in the summer.
Yep.
So all the foot traffic we're getting, it's really important that you have them in the stores. And then obviously from there, they can go on our website and have them shipped. And there's other ordering platforms, obviously, they can get it from. But I would say having them in two restaurants is very important. So,
Yeah, it seems like it'd be such a great way to sell books. I was like,
yeah, absolutely. It
do I
is.
need to open a restaurant?
Yeah, don't do that.
No, I probably won't. But can we talk a little bit about the drinks? Because with brunch, a lot of times there's drinks. Are
Mhm.
there drinks or mocktails that you really feel partial to in the cookbook?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. I love I gotta go look back at the drinks I put in there.
I'll
I
tell you
think,
some.
yeah, tell me some.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. I'm just going to get into this chapter here. Because I always think, I don't know, I like to drink when I go to brunch. You've got the blueberry jam lemonade, a chai
Oh yeah,
latte.
that's the popular one.
Blueberry jam, people don't realize that like jams, you know how you have all these jars of jams in your house? They
Hmm.
make great drink components.
They really do. Yes. We actually have that on at the Atlanta. Well, actually, we have them on both. We have like a signature blueberry basil jam that we make
Hmm.
in-house, and it goes with our biscuits and like all our toast and stuff like that. And it's just been wildly popular. And one day, I think a server was like, we should put this in the lemonade. And we also serve a version of it with vodka, as we call it the boozy blue.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, it makes great. It's like, it just would replace like the simple syrup or the sweetener or whatever you're going to use. So,
So in this recipe, they've got a quarter cup of jam plus 2 tablespoons and then 4 cups of prepared lemonade and the
hmm.
basil, and then it's just shaken and
Yep.
all set.
It's
Uh,
really good in the summer. Oh, and I love the watermelon popsicle. Um, gosh, why am I blanking so hard?
Here, I'll tell you because I just saw a picture of it. It is watermelon ice pop mimosas with the basil.
Yes, those were so fun to make. So I actually was inspired by that. I don't know if you've ever heard of 11 Madison Park, but
Oh,
it's,
yes, the
yeah, one of
granola
the
is
best
legendary.
restaurants.
Daniel
Um,
Hume, come on, he's the best.
yeah, I got to go a couple years ago, and we had just the most phenomenal experience. And we sat at the bar, which was so fun, a girlfriend of mine. And we went in, and this bartender was amazing, and everything on the drink menu was seasonally inspired. And they just had all these cool things. And I just was really, really inspired. And I was like, what can I do with a watermelon? And so
Yeah,
I made these like really cool watermelon popsicles and just stuck it into a glass of Prosecco. And it's awesome because, it's a great way to entertain
yeah.
because then once the people grab their drinks and eventually it melts, and then you have this awesome, watermelon slush in your champagne.
Have you ever heard of something called a Johnny Pop where you are?
Johnny Pop. I don't think so. I know a Johnny cake, but I don't
Okay,
think that's what a
so
Johnny Pop is.
they're these natural popsicles that are and were invented by a college kid in Minneapolis. And they're
Okay.
starting to get more nationwide exposure because they're at Costco and Target and some other places. But
Okay.
they have these really great flavors, and they have like a watermelon flavor or a sugar-free hibiscus. And they are great as a shortcut to put in a Prosecco just like you did.
Yeah.
And it's got a fun presentation and it's really colorful, but also
Yeah.
tastes great.
That's awesome.
Let's talk about your frying chicken. I'm working on a fried chicken episode, so I sort of have chicken on the brain.
Okay.
You fry yours in a shallow fry of about an inch of oil. Is that correct?
Hmm. Yep.
And is that how, like, did you see your mom do it that way? Because there's different theories. Like some people shallow fry, some people deep fry.
Hmm. So growing up, I didn't grow up in a traditional Southern family, but my dad loved fried chicken. And he would shallow fry it. He would always do like the thighs, and he would get one of those big like electric griddles that you would plug in
Yep.
and do like, an inch of the oil and fry
Yep.
it that way. At the restaurant, we actually deep fry it like real low on like 275 degrees. But I like this recipe because I think it's more approachable for the home kitchen.
Mhm.
Most people are not going to be deep frying, or
Yeah.
it makes a mess. And so I like both ways. But I feel like in more of a home setting, it's better to use like a big cast iron and fry it on both sides and then finish it in the oven. It gets
Yeah.
really nice and crispy.
Yeah.
So
Same theory. But I did like that you in your garnish you have like it looks like you fried up some basil maybe.
yeah, I love frying herbs.
Okay, I never do that, but I should.
Yeah. And people, it's such like an old, um, I hate to say outdated. It's like a very, I mean, I've seen Thomas Keller do it. Like
It's
it's
kind
a
of a
very,
1980s thing.
yeah, but I love it.
Yeah,
It's,
for
I feel like
sure.
to me, it never goes out of style, and most people don't know they can do it. Like you could take, beautiful sprigs of fresh basil and throw them into the fryer, and they just pop up and crisp, and they're like they look like stained glass. Like it's
Yeah,
so
they're cool
beautiful.
looking.
And you can do it with thyme and sage and all that stuff, and it's just kind of a really cool little entertaining little trick to kind of wow your guests with.
We
So,
have a dry rubbed fried chicken wing spot here.
oh,
And
nice.
part of what they do is they fry the basil with the rub, and
Oh,
really it just
yeah,
makes a nice presentation. Well, this has
definitely.
been really delightful to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear you have a great food scene up there.
yeah, we
Down there, I guess
do.
I should say.
Yeah, we do. And we just had one of our restaurants win the James Beard Award this year, so I'm really excited about that. Before we let you go, I'm going
Hmm.
to ask you about hollandaise because as someone who has a brunch restaurant, you've probably made more hollandaise than you can even imagine making in the world of hollandaise. Do you
I've
even
made it
like it?
a couple times. I do like it. It's funny. I never order a Benedict on a menu
Me
ever.
neither.
I just don't, and I like it, but yeah, I never order it. It's
What is
fun.
the secret to making the delicious sauce?
To the hollandaise?
Yeah.
Well, you want to make sure it doesn't break. So you need to incorporate your butter very slowly. Um, a really good trick is to use a blender
Yeah.
because you get that motor going, but you want to make sure that your yolks are in there first and you allow them to blend and incorporate before adding your melted butter.
Good
And
trick.
that's kind of it, and then it's just a little practice, a little confidence, and just slowly streaming in that butter. Um, we have been playing around with a maple hollandaise at the restaurant right now, where we're sweetening it with maple syrup.
Yum.
That has come out really well, and the base of it are little mini buttermilk pancakes. So that takes place of the bread.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I love that. All right.
it's a
Well,
fun
that
way
sounds
to throw
fun.
different seasonings in it too. You don't have to just do the traditional hollandaise. You can do all sorts of things.
Yeah, I love it. And just mixing it up. That would be good too with chicken.
Yeah, definitely.
Just like a chicken and waffle, I don't
With
know,
hollandaise.
hollandaise
Yeah.
situation.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we are really delighted to speak with you. It's Chef Suzanne Vizethann. And
Zeffen.
so I said it wrong that time, didn't I?
You did. It's okay.
Okay, one more time. Chef Suzanne Vizethann.
Zeffen.
Wrong again. Chef Suzanne Vizethann, and it is brunch season. A year of delicious mornings from the Buttermilk Kitchen, photographed by Kelly Berry, which we talked about because the book is really beautiful. I will put a link to purchasing the book. I will also put a link to both your restaurants. So if people are in Georgia or in Maine, they can check you out. And I'll put a link to your first book too, so that everyone can find your recipes. Because again, really beautiful book. I think home cooks are really going to like it. And if you're a bruncher, it's for you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much. I appreciate your time. It was fun to chat.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.